We don't have to do that.
No, I know.
With
The synchronized
Premiere
tool.
Pro now just syncs. It's
I
just,
know, right? It's
how
brilliant.
good is that?
It's brilliant. I could sit here and just talk about tools in Premiere Pro for hours.
So good. Makes life so much easier. Hey, Ben, thanks for coming in.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
And I learnt that your name is pronounced Ben Breitenstein.
That's correct. Yep.
Yep. So tell us a bit about yourself. You're an industrial designer, you're a drummer,
Yep.
your heritage lies back in Germany. Tell us a bit more about who you are and what you do.
Oh gosh, it's a long story. I've done a lot of things. These days, I make virtual reality apps.
Wow.
Yeah, a friend of mine, actually a former member of We Set Sail, Hayden, put me in a headset back in like 2016, and I couldn't let that idea go. It was like taking the headset off was like coming out of a waking dream, and I've never been able to shake that feeling. And
Right.
so I've just been sort of going all in on that. And so these days, that's what I'm chasing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun.
That's trippy.
And it kind of brings all of my various like disciplines together in a nice way, which is really satisfying.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's all creative, right?
Yeah.
Because even industrial design is creative.
Yeah, it's spatial. It's like, it's the world in 3D. So it's not just like a picture, and it's not just like a graphic. It's you know, you can reach out, and it's how we interact with things and objects and peoples and systems and that sort of stuff.
So tell me, and everyone else out there,
Yeah.
should we be worried about virtual reality and AI combined?
Like, yes, but it's also very fun. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's good and bad in all of this.
Yeah.
No, seeing where it's going, it's scary and exciting all at the same time.
Yeah, you know, like I watched the John Stewart thing the other day on AI, and it's like, AI's great, but in the hands of capitalism,
Yeah.
it's probably not that great.
No.
Because the goal of capitalism is to make more capital,
Yeah.
and one of the biggest costs of capitalism is human resource.
Yeah.
So if we can cut out the human resource,
Yeah.
happy days.
If I can go on a little tangent just for a sec.
Yeah.
I know we're going deep here on the AI thing, but this is really interesting. This point that was made in a video I was watching the other day about there's some company who's come up with a web browser that when you search for something, instead of giving you the ChatGPT readout or just a Google result, what it does is it creates completely new web pages based on the information and the images that it finds, right? But the thing about that is if nobody's looking at the source, they're not going to get ad revenue, which means the original sources are going to disappear, which means it's like a snake eating its own tail and the whole thing falls over.
Yeah.
It's a house with no concrete or base or anything.
Emperor with no clothes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the spooky part to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, I'm in my 60s, so it's like I try to understand it, but it's quite beyond me in terms of, you know, like how it all works, where it's all headed. Like, I think where AI is at the moment, like particularly with things like Midjourney or ChatGPT, to me it's not artificial intelligence, it's just a very clever plagiarism bot.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it's just pulling information from everyone going, look what I made. Well, it's like, no, you stole this from here and made this.
It is very much exactly that, yeah.
But I'm sure we're going to advance beyond that.
Yeah, I hope so. I think where it eventually ends up, we haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
We don't know what that looks like.
I don't think anyone does.
No.
All right, let's move away from that then.
Yeah, sure.
Because we're getting deep into a whole different thing.
Well, we're going the opposite direction. We're going analog today, aren't we?
That's true.
We've just been doing analog photography.
Yep. Handwritten notes about your tattoos and tattoos. So let's talk about tattoos. Why? That's my first question in this season is what was the motivation for getting permanent artwork on your skin?
Yeah, that's a good question. It looks cool and it's fun.
Yeah.
That's for me what it was. It was very much the design aspect for me. It's like that idea of adornment and stuff. I remember there was this really awesome exhibition at the Queensland Museum a million years ago. I would have been like 12 or 13.
Right.
But it was this really expansive exhibition on all different types of body art from like every different culture around the world, right through to like
the neck rings and stuff like that.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff, like piercing, scarring, and I was fascinated. Right through to just the catalogs of what do they call them? What's the word when you get like flash?
Oh yeah.
Like
flashcards.
Yeah,
You
flashcards.
flick through and I want that one.
and so all of it was just fascinating to me, and I just think it's a cool way to play with the proportions and the aesthetic of your own body.
Right.
That's also why I got piercings and stuff too.
Yeah, cool.
Same reason.
I think obviously, well, also, sorry, not obviously, but your era, like you're considerably younger than me, it was more acceptable, but also, I guess the subcultures at the time, like you're a musician, so there would have been lots of people you looked up to.
Oh, for sure.
Growing up that had tattoos and the plugs and,
that's
piercings
right.
and everything else.
Yeah, I'm of the generation where that stuff was right up front. Like I can remember when like Korn and Slipknot and stuff were like the biggest bands on the planet.
Yeah.
They weren't just alternative scene stuff. Like everybody was into it. And so when that's what you're seeing all day, every day in year 12, it goes deep.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm thinking about, like I grew up with, punk bands in the late 70s, but they didn't have tattoos.
Yeah, right, of course.
But pop punk and 90s punk bands, full of tattoos.
Yeah.
So it was a different movement. Like I'm trying to think like, the Clash, I don't think any of those guys had tattoos. The Saints didn't have tattoos. Sex Pistols, no tattoos.
Yeah.
Like,
and for the record, like Slipknot and stuff weren't my favorite bands in high school, but I guess what my point was that it was really normalized.
Okay.
So
Cool. What about reactions? Parents, relatives, friends, family, that kind of thing.
That's a good question too. Thankfully, I didn't have any really sort of harsh or violent reactions from anybody in my family. I think my dad could kind of just see where I was going with all of this, and so he just kind of rolled with it. I had some parents of friends who, for one reason or another, were like super anti-tattoo, and they actually tried to talk me out of it and stuff.
Right.
But it wasn't enough to deter me. And actually, before I came here tonight, I was sort of reminiscing, thinking about, I guess, my tattoos and why I have them and that sort of stuff. And I'll never forget, it was an Every Time I Die documentary that came out. What was the label they were on? Maybe like Relapse or Victory or one of those. It might have been like one of those compilation DVDs that came with the record or whatever. And there's this one little segment with Keith Buckley, the singer, where he's like doing a tour of all his tattoos, and he had a lot at that point even. But the point that he made was that like with every tattoo that you get, the severity and the weight of it kind of washes away, and it just becomes more of a novelty. Yeah. And you don't have to take them too seriously. And I really kind of adopted that philosophy, and I definitely feel that way. Like, if somebody came to me tomorrow and was like, "Hey, do you want to get this tattoo?" If I would thought it was a cool idea, I would happily jump on it. And I actually wish I had more tattoos, but they take time and money, which you know, we're all poor of these days. So, but yeah, I don't. I mean, that's why my tattoos are kind of whimsical too. They're not like, they're not like some big, heavy family legacy thing or like, whatever. It's just fun. It's colorful, but it still has a lot to do with, my journey. And that sort of
Well, let's
stuff.
talk about that. Let's talk about, what was your first tattoo?
So this one here, it's a percussion clef. It's sort of stylized. It looks like an equal sign. People always think it's an equal sign.
So the Coldplay did the thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's kind of like that, but it was not a percussion clef.
Hence why some people just think I'm a mad Coldplay fan, which is funny. But no, percussion clef, basically, if you know like a stave, a music stave, and you have your treble clef and your bass clef, a percussion clef is basically just two lines, which means a non-pitched instrument. So instead of having all your notes, it's just like, this is your snare, and this is your kick, and this is your toms, and all that sort of stuff. And so that's what that was. That was just, I was obsessed with drums, and that was just kind of my way to, I guess, show that off. Right. But in an abstract way that's not showy.
Not obvious.
And yeah, exactly. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah. And then you did the Drummer Boy. Was that next?
Yeah. So then I actually, this is funny. I'm a bit of a nerd with computers and 3D modeling and stuff. Hence being an industrial designer. So I actually model this up in 3D. Right. To get the design. Yeah. So I use this program called SketchUp, and it would allow you to render it with like bright colors and big thick profile outlines and stuff to kind of get that tattooy, that real sort of pop art look. And that's what I gave the tattooist. And so that's why like it sort of looks like a 3D illustration. Yeah. Is because that's kind of how I laid it all out.
That looks like Lego.
Yeah, and it is Lego. It is, yeah. And so that's my drummer minifig that I kind of invented. I really wish that you could get Lego drumsticks. I think that would be super cool. Lego, hit me up. Patent pending. And then it was just a lot of other bits that I just kind of remember from
Cool.
digging around in the box. So these are all Technic bits.
Yeah.
I like the technical, mechanical
Yeah.
stuff. You know, that's how I learnt about how engines work and that sort of stuff as a
Right.
kid, was building
Yeah, yeah,
Lego
yeah, yeah.
cars where you can have the suspension and the steering
yeah.
and the engine and all that stuff. You know, I found it fascinating.
Can we just go back to the drummer boy for a
Yeah,
minute?
sure. Yeah, man. Yeah.
How long have you been playing drums? Like, when did you start?
I remember in high school, it would have been like year 10. I think I went on holiday somewhere and I came back and like my little group of mates, Jimmy probably, who was still playing in We Set Sail with, they were like, we're going to start a band and such is going to play this and I'm going to play guitar and you should play drums. And I was like, well, that sounds sick. I don't want to miss out, you know. So yeah, I'll do drums. And that's kind of where it started, like totally on a whim. But I managed to convince my dad, after a lot of nagging, to buy me like this super crummy, cheap drum kit, but it got the job done.
Yeah.
And, you know, my parents were gracious enough to kind of let me have it set up in the living room and play at times that didn't piss them off too much.
What about the neighbours?
Our place was like big enough
Okay.
and far enough away
Okay.
that, you know, as long as it's like during work hours and stuff when people
Sure.
are away at work,
Yeah.
it wasn't too much of a drama. And so I fumbled my way around on that, and just honestly, just through listening to a lot of stuff and kind of hearing a cool thing and then pulling it apart and figuring out how it fits together. That's just kind of how I taught myself.
Cool.
I did have a couple of lessons, but not many.
'Cause it's not the most common instrument of people. Like, you know, obviously I work here at Music Industry College, and you know, drummers here, they're the rare beast.
Are they?
Oh yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and like, I mean, they get called up for lots of things.
Yeah, right.
You know, guitarist dime a dozen. You
Okay,
know, like I can
sure.
pick up a 6-string and I can play, and that can impress the girls or the boys, whatever you're
Right.
into. And
Yeah.
it's portable, I can carry it.
Okay.
And parents will tolerate a guitar,
Yeah, yeah, true.
particularly electric one. Unplug that.
In the headphones.
Put your
of course.
headphones in,
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, even electric drums, it's got that clack, 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 clack.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, you know, drums is, I think, great. I mean, obviously, great instrument, and certainly in any rock genre, they're fantastic, and percussion for all other genres of music. But yeah, I know that the kids out of here that are good drummers, they'll never be out of work.
Yeah, okay, that's really
And you've been in several bands, right?
Yeah, I mean, just coming back to that comment though, I remember in high school when people heard us play and knew that we were like trying to be a band and stuff. I remember one of the teachers who was kind of younger and was also like into the same music as the kids,
Yeah.
saying something along the lines of like, "Oh yeah, drummers are so hard to come by," and I remember thinking like, "Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's cool."
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, what was the question again?
Just like you've been in a lot of bands.
Yeah,
like,
right, yeah.
Was Inside the Whale, was that?
Yeah.
Am I right with the
Yeah,
name?
that was me. Yeah, yeah, that was one of them. I mean, there's been so many little start-stop projects over the years too, where people have inspiration, and for me, a lot of it was just meeting people or seeing people play and being like, I just love that person's approach. I would love to just have a jam with them, and that's how a lot of these things kick off.
Okay.
We Set Sail was interesting just because these guys were my mates forever.
Yeah.
And so it was just so awesome to just have that excuse to always hang out.
Yeah. One of the slowest moving projects in Brisbane music history, I think.
Yeah, probably. It's funny, it never felt slow to us.
Right. When did you get 3 albums out?
Three albums and then a bunch of those little
7 inches,
singles,
yeah.
7-inch type things. Yeah.
In how many years?
15, just about on the nose. I
So
think
like
it
one
was.
every 5 years.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's slow,
But
in modern standards. But you guys
Yeah,
are
I
all kind of
suppose.
like dads and
yeah, we all
You know,
got many things going
jobs
on.
and- But yeah, it was cool. Like obviously, fanboy here. Shout out We Set Sail. I'll put a link to their Spotify down below.
Yeah.
Um,
Look, I've still got 6 crates of vinyl under my stairs. So please, for the love of God, help me lighten the load, guys.
Yeah, like
Dig deep.
seriously, it's a great band. You should definitely listen to them. I've got all their albums. I think Paul's got one of the 7 inches waiting for me. Unless you've got one under the stairs, then I'll buy one
Oh,
for you.
I definitely do.
Because that was the one I didn't get, was the last 7 inch.
Because you were really sick at our last show, right?
Got crook as a dog, had a stomach bug. No one needed me to be there.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I had tickets, and my son had tickets, and we were going to come to your final show. And then that morning, both ends. It was just, it was not.
Sorry
not
to hear
pleasant.
that. It was a shame because I would have loved to have had you there.
Yeah, I followed you guys right from the very beginning, and before that with Paul with Paper in the Plane.
Yeah.
And Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to tattoos. 'Cause
Yeah, sure.
We've done AI. Now we're going
Yeah,
down the
that's
Brisbane
right,
music
that's right.
path. You talked to me before about the shark being one of your favourites.
Yes.
You didn't mention that in your handwritten note.
Yeah, well...
What's the shark about then?
Look, the shark is just one of the coolest Lego bits, along with the cannon. I don't know if you're familiar with the cannon, the little spring-loaded...
Oh, wow.
So, as a kid, I feel like every kid who was into Lego wanted the pirate ship.
Right, yeah.
It was this massive set. It was like, this big, and it had this like cool molded hull of the boat and everything. And they have these cannons, like your old school pirate cannons.
Yeah.
The 10-pound gun or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so there's this one little Lego piece that's like this little barrel. And so you feed that into the cannon, and then it's got like a little spring-loaded pullback thing, and it fires the cannon, right?
Wow.
And that's the coolest thing ever as a kid, and I still have one at home. And so the shark and the cannon were all part of like the pirate sets, and so they were just some of my favorite bits. And so I've got the pirate's head, but also the treasure chest.
Yeah, I see that.
So the little treasure chest with all the gold coins that would spill out was another like really iconic bit.
Yeah.
And funny story, I never really had any pirate Lego as a kid, but my best friend James, who was my best friend back then and still now, a couple of years ago, he's like, dude, I've still got my Lego from when I was a kid, and he had this little pirate island set that had the cannon and the treasure chest and the shark in it. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. Finally got my pirate Lego. So, and now I've given it to my kids, so, there you go, which is rad.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, when I was growing up, two things. One, Lego wasn't that cool. It was just blocks. And second thing, we were not in the middle class that could afford Lego.
Yeah, Lego's always been expensive.
We're somewhere else. And so I can't even remember having Lego in our house as a kid. I mean, my kids have had it.
Yeah.
And Technics and Bionicles and all that kind of stuff, But we never... Sad moment for Brett. We never had
Sorry,
Lego in
man.
our house. Yeah, I know.
Oh, look, I was an easy kid to buy for because my parents just like every birthday, every Christmas, it was just like another little set, and that was it. And it just grew and grew and grew.
So have you been to the Brickman thing at the museum?
Yeah, I have, and the big store down at Dreamworld there, and it's pretty good fun. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I didn't go, but my daughter took her son. My grandson went, and he loved it, and like the dinosaurs and everything. It was just like he's nearly 3, so dinosaurs are everything.
Yeah.
So I went and saw that, and he was just like, "This is amazing."
Yeah, I got a 3.5-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they're both just like, you pull the Lego out, and first of all they try to eat it, and then you're like, no, choking hazard. Yeah.
That's why Duplow's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's bigger than it's bigger than the trachea, so
That's right. Yeah.
You put it in your mouth, but you're not going to choke you. Yeah. So let me the Lego fig head, the head on your right wrist.
That's right.
Or thumb, actually. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So it's a lady with big red lips and a beauty spot. That's that's my wife, basically.
Yeah.
My wife Rachel's. So we got matching minifig heads. She's got one of me, glasses and stubble on the back of her elbow, and that was just kind of like. For me, it was an alternative to wearing a wedding ring. Yeah. I don't like having rings on my fingers. It's always creeped me out. I think I got one stuck on maybe a hand as a kid, and it's like claustrophobia to me, having rings on my fingers. So I just wanted something, to mark that occasion when we got married. And she's always staring at me.
It's a reminder.
That's right.
Now, what have I had to do today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I've got to get that stuff on the way home.
I wish it worked that well. We've had a bad run with leaving the lights on in our van recently, and
draining the battery.
Yeah,
shocker.
Yeah, it was a bit of a tricky spot the other day when Rach had to take the kids to school and the battery was dead. So that was on me because I'd gotten home the night before and left the van lights on because it's a bit of an older car, so it doesn't have the auto lights off stuff.
Yeah, okay.
You've got to use your brain a bit more in this one.
Think about it. Yeah, that normally happens in car parks during the day when we used to have those kind of cars.
Yeah.
Like I've got the auto lights one now, so it's like I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, no.
It's just kind of, it's a bit of a worry sometimes. You don't have to think about things anymore. It just happens for you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we can get back into that again, and we won't, because we're talking about tattoos.
That's right.
And you've got the We Set sale.
That's right. And so
now you've been in a heap of bands. Why did you choose to permanently get We Set Sail up there on your shoulder?
I'm going to blame Paul and Andy because it was their idea.
Okay.
I think they just they just wanted a mark of the significance of this band for
Okay.
us, because it's something that none of us have. We've never done anything else for this long
Yeah.
with that sort of commitment.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can only speak for myself, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it is a significant thing, you know. It's
Yeah.
like 15 years of your life,
Sure.
and a lot of good memories and experiences and shows and music
Like
to
almost
show
burning
for
the
it.
shed down.
Oh yeah, I was like, "What are you talking?" Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. And so you know, just when they said they were going to do it, I was like, "Well, I'm the other member that also has tattoos, so I don't want to miss out on this."
So a couple of guys didn't get it. So Remy hasn't got one.
So I don't think Remy's got one, and I don't
Okay.
think Jimmy's got one, but I don't think either of those guys have tattoos.
Yeah, but
so,
come on,
and
you know,
that's
it's-
fair enough.
That's where he sets out. Come on.
Well, actually, there's some
One in
fans
all
of
of you.
ours that also got the tattoo,
Wow.
which was
That's
a trip.
commitment.
That's
Yeah.
an absolute trip.
Yeah.
You know, and they came up to us at the last show and were like, "Look, I got it too." And I was like, "Fuck, I should almost like give you a record for free." I don't know
Yeah.
if I did. I hope I did. Maybe I did.
That's
Maybe
awesome.
I didn't.
All right. Last question. And
Okay.
I ask this one of everyone.
Yep.
I'm a clean skin.
Okay.
The era I grew up in, tattoos were kind of taboo, or
Yep.
you know, for the dark side.
Yeah.
If I was to get one, what advice would you give me, or is there a design you think I could get? Educate me.
It's a good question. I like when you can come up with an idea of an illustration for something that tells a story in an abstract way. An idea that I've had for a tattoo for the longest time, and I will get this one day, was like, because as a drummer, you're always keeping time, right?
Sure.
So the idea I had to visualize that is a clock in a cage, keeping time.
Yep.
Right. So that's an idea that I would like to get tattooed, and that's
Right.
the sort of thing that I think is cool. I mean, maybe it's a complete wank.
Yeah. Oh, no,
But
yeah, I don't think there's any. I mean, you said before yours are quite whimsical, but there's a lot of meaning behind your tattoos as well.
yeah,
You know, apart from the pirate and the shark. That's just
Yeah.
'cause, you know, that was fun as a kid. But
yeah,
you know, the drums, the minifig, you know, your wife, we set sail. It's kind of, there has some meaning as well, even
sure.
though it's just a bit of a laugh in some respects as well.
yeah. And so that's the other thing I would say is like just don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Like if you want to try it, like it's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
You're going to be the same person you were with
Yeah.
tats or without.
Yeah.
I think that stigma that comes with tattoos is eroding.
Yeah,
You know, because
sure.
just in 2024, shit's really different than it was in 1990 or 1970. You
Sure.
know? So
You see them everywhere. Well, I do,
yeah,
because I'm working on this project, so I see them everywhere.
yeah,
I'm going to get into trouble soon because I stare at people with them. And sometimes
Yeah.
they're of the female variety, and I'm like, dude, you're 60 and you're staring at a 20-something-year-old.
yeah. It's kind of hard to explain, isn't it?
It's just like, here's my card. Look it up online. You know what I'm doing. Yeah, but I have to stop myself. Like, you'll be grocery shopping and I see, you know, some young person. I'm like,
Yeah, and I bet you just can't wait to ask them about
yeah,
it.
you know, and it's like, oh, stop. You got to walk away because if they turn around and see you, because I am staring, it's like, that's an awkward conversation I don't want to have.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
But yeah, like, I get it. I get the whole, you know, if you are going to get it, just go with something that feels right to you. I think that's the advice I've been getting. Like, you know, and don't overthink it. Just go with
Yeah.
what you think,
Or just start with something super simple.
or don't get one at all.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
maybe the clean skins will be the unique people in the future.
Well, I feel like it's almost leading that way. Yeah, I mean, tattoos have very much become a commodity, you know, like in the same way that you buy jeans or
Yeah,
shoes and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
you know, which is a little sad to me.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Yeah,
People
look,
can do what they want.
I think you're number 15 that I've interviewed. And I think, you know, everyone's had a reason for their tattoos. I don't think anyone's just gone, I've done it for fashion, or I've done
Yeah.
it because it's a thing.
Yeah,
There's always, everyone that I've interviewed about it, and the whole idea was to kind of lift the lid and destigmatize tattoos.
yeah,
It's like, everyone's had, you know, even Sarah, who, she got a lot of anime characters because she loves anime. And they're just whimsical and dumb characters, but she likes them.
yeah.
So
yeah.
therefore,
It's
I
comforting.
got those, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's not, I don't know whether maybe it is for some people. It's just like, it's a fashion statement or it's a commodity.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
yeah.
getting a new pair of shoes, so I might as well get a new tattoo. But everyone I've interviewed so far has been, some's been really deep, meaningful, tied to family.
Yeah.
Others are just like, it was a cool design and I really liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, some of like, you know, young fellow interviewed first, tattoo regret.
Really?
Yeah, shark eating. There's a shark eating a woman, and all you see is her legs and her knickers around her ankles.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
And he's like, I said, any regrets? He's like, yeah, that one. And he said, I was 18, and I pointed at the flashcard and went, that one.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So it's like, but you know, these days
Yeah.
you just get it reworked into something else.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say, actually, is that these things are reversible now
Yeah.
too, you know, more or less. So,
Laser hurts though.
I bet. Yeah.
I've had it on my nose for some blood vessels, and you can actually smell your flesh burning.
That's wild. That's wild and creepy.
Yeah, you're just like, that's meat, that's
Yeah.
me. And it hurts. Like, yeah, I think I had to take 4 Panadol, and then they gave me numbing cream, and then they put these little metal goggles on my eyes, and man, oh man, that's,
Yeah,
it
right.
was intense pain.
Far out.
Because they're just searing your skin.
Yeah, okay.
It's just pretty nuts. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming in and having
Hey,
a
no
chat.
worries, man. I
Really
enjoyed it.
appreciate it.
Thank
I've
you.
learned a lot about you. I'll probably go home and listen to We Set Sail. I'll hit you up for one of those singles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Vogue's got one.
Seriously, I'm just down the road.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.